Welcome to Freedom to Think broadcast. I'm your host, Jeff. This is my lovely wife, Keegan. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment what you think. These are the 10 reasons we would vote for Trump even if he was in prison. Let's get right into it. Despite being handcuffed, mugshot, and thrown in the pen, we're definitely voting for Trump. And it actually makes me want to vote for him a lot more that he's indicted and potentially facing these charges, these consequences, and, prison time. So number one, which it's not the most important, but I say the humor, the memes, the merchandise, just the general hilariousness of everything to do with it. So I've already got ideas, if you're repping the set, D block for Donald Trump in prison. So we can all wear D block t-shirts. I've thought of like the memes of like the prison, but it's like Trump's prison. So it's all decked out with golden bars and everything.
I just moved Trump Tower into the prison.
Yeah. They just put like the hairdo like thing over the arch, the hair arch over the prison. There's just like a big phone with a T on it that he just like grabs through the prison. So I think it's just so funny, and the left thinks that it's a bad thing, and then the right is like it's like a badge of honor. It's like Nelson Mandela, like he was thrown in prison for political bullshit, and then he came out stronger, and then ended up leading everybody. So it's not the we got you that they think it is.
I think it could also be that he's letting them fully change the laws for him to make it easier when he gets back in office, so that then he could just, reverse it. And he's like, well, these are the rules. I actually went to prison, so you can.
Oh, shit. Okay. So you're saying the boomerang, the return trip.
It would be even more of a punch if it's like,
So, yeah,
completely.
So he lets them go all the way to mugshot, handcuffs, throw in the pen, and then he's like,
hey, this literally happened to me from your rules, so it's actually totally legal now. So.
Okay, so.
That's a theory.
No, that's not a theory. That's a reason. So this is reason number 2. New rules, baby. If Trump goes through with getting the consequences of the new rules consequences can be implemented on other people who deserve it.
Yeah, who are actually guilty.
Right. Because if they do the full investigation and they go to court and they share all the evidence and they have all this stuff, and then it shows, hey, he wins an appeal, he goes home, whatever. They at least had to do all of that, and they set the precedent that the ex-president is not above being investigated for legitimate things if they are legitimate. So we can look at Biden, we can look at Obama, Clinton.
There's a long list.
There's kind of a long list of people, and it doesn't just have to be the president, as we know with, Hillary's case just getting thrown out just because for Benghazi.
Yeah, you're not above the law still.
Right.
No matter what political office you got.
Yeah, for the email server is what I meant. But
oh yeah.
So I'm just
how they were just all deleted.
Yeah, they Clinton had acid washed her servers and crushed the BlackBerries with hammers. That was total bullshit, and they could just destroy evidence and just not have any repercussions. But Trump's apparently being dragged across the coals. So that's another reason, is the new rules. I love it. The boomerang. That's a good one. Reason number 3. If Biden can campaign from the basement, Trump can campaign from jail. Trump ran a great campaign in 2016 and in 2020, and he's been very active even since then. So I don't think he needs to campaign anymore. People want him to debate. They want him to do all this stuff. And you see all of these legal hurdles they're throwing in. They're trying to interrupt his campaign strategically with this lawfare, basically, that's happening.
Yeah, I agree. He doesn't really need to do much.
Like, everyone knows. You either know what Trump is about and you agree, or you have full Trump derangement syndrome, and no matter what happens, like, literal Satan can come up from hell and throw a D badge on his lapel, and they'll be like, oh, I'm voting Satan for Democrat 2024.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't, because it's not Trump. And you're just like, okay, I think we've lost you. I think we're not reclaiming you to sanity and, you know, just any sort of rational thought. So,
well, there's still some people that don't like him necessarily, but I mean, you can feel the effects of his policy.
yes.
You can afford groceries and
Oh, yeah.
gas and not be at war.
1% inflation, $2 gas was $1.86 for us here, in some places for quite a while.
Now have shortages of everything.
Yep. Yeah, I remember getting like a promotion, an assistant, a raise, and then like dollar something gas, and then steak was really cheap, and we had it a lot more, you know. So now it's like unreal inflation, gas through the roof, shortages of everything, meat has gone up, and it's steak flavored ramen. So it's a different world right now, and the Trump haters are stuck in the world too. Like you've said, there's people that have money, and service industries are affected so much that they're not getting doted on the way that they used to.
Everything's short-staffed, or they just don't have what you want that's available.
Yeah. So if you want like a fancy new truck or car, they could say, oh, well, we're out of this and this and this because of whatever happened during...
Yeah, they're used to just being able to just like whip out their wallet and be like, I got the money for it, but like they're like, we still don't have it. We can't just magic it into existence. So
yeah. It's true. That's totally true. And Trump was the king of the economy. Like you can't argue with the business practices. And he was able to fix problems over and over and over again. And then that made everyone prosper in the wallet and not the rich. Like, I've never been rich in my life. Hopefully one day. But like, he helped the lower and upper middle class and poor people a ton. Number 4, I'm just a simple guy who loves revenge. And Trump has had an unbelievable amount of unjust crap happen to him, starting from the very moment he walked down the golden escalator and said that he was running as a Republican to be the president of the United States. I feel like he needs to finish his character arc with 4 years of wrath against everyone who wronged him, just to make everything even.
It makes sense, too, because like everything he said he was going to do in the first term he did, minus draining the swamp, which was probably the plan for the second term. Because also you kind of have to have people's eyes open to be okay with, you don't want to be fighting the public, too, about repercussions for these people that really deserve it. Just so that you can see why they actually deserve it. And just telling someone's not going to be the same as them experiencing life, like living through it. So.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
Like, you can see the corruption because you're living through it. Versus, like, if Trump 4 years ago was like, we need to do these drastic measures because these people deserve it. And some people would be okay with it, but not to the level now, like where we can see it.
Right.
We live through it.
The vast majority of people are okay with just like a do-over button on like the whole government. So if he wanted to legitimately just like fire everyone, there would be a consensus. Yeah, let's do that.
Well, not only that, but it's also going to be like kind of messy through the process and probably not ideal living situation. So I think that more and more people are going to be okay with going through that messy phase to ultimately get out on the other side where we want to be.
There's no way to tell everyone. You have to show them to a degree.
Yeah.
And
unfortunately.
And it just sucks for the people who are already pretty aware of the situation. And then you're like, dude, I already knew. I don't need to be shown. But people are being shown.
But you have to wait until the bulk amount of people. Obviously not everyone, but Majority.
Number 5 is going to be closing the southern border. I come from the ancestry of having Mexican migrant worker grandparents. There's nothing racist about wanting a secure southern border, free of control from the global cartels who are trafficking drugs, guns, people.
I know for 700 miles. But let me tell you something, folks. People are driving across that border with tons, hear me, tons of everything from byproducts from methamphetamine, cocaine, to heroin. It's all coming up through corrupt Mexico.
It's not good. It's a humanitarian disaster. There's footage everywhere of all of the horror that goes along with it. And I think to the previous point, you have to show people how bad it is, because there's a lot of very ignorant people that have no idea that all of these bad things are connected to illegal immigration and having that trafficking in place with the, those global cartels. I know I've touched on a ton and I'll never stop, but the Sound of Freedom movie that came out, the guy who's featured in there, the real agent, actually worked with Don Jr. And then connected to Trump. He explained how bad that situation was, and then it seemed like it became a matter of urgency, and then Trump started fixing the Mexican border. So he knows the situation. He's vehemently against child trafficking, which is obvious, but it's not obvious to Biden and the Democrats and the swamp people, most likely because of how profitable that whole industry is. So they're evil, and he's not for sale.
That's just a really easy way to see who's where on what side.
Yeah.
It's like that's kind of something we can all agree on. So if you got problems with it, then probably into some corruption.
Yeah. You got it.
Yeah, you could ask what the border states think of Trump versus Biden. I'm sure they have a lot to say about it.
Yeah, that's another thing. If the Attorney General in Georgia is coming up with this indictment against Trump, and it's because it's from a state, it can't be pardoned, why isn't every border state indicting Joe Biden for what he's done to their security of their people? Like, that's a legitimate thing with him coming into power and then destroying our southern border security intentionally. Reason number 6 is going to be for free speech and the Constitution. Trump believing that the 2020 election was rigged against him, stolen, fraud, is not illegal. You can believe whatever, and you can say that with the First Amendment. So the entire premise of everything involved here with his indictment is garbage.
And you can look at all the Democrats that did the same exact thing with 2016 especially.
Yes, that's true.
There's tons of sound bites and clips of them telling their feelings about how it was stolen.
Yep. And I grew up in liberal Rochester, New York, and I heard from everyone and anyone around me how George Bush stole the election from Al Gore. Like, that was commonplace. Everyone said it. Everyone believed Bush did 9/11, started these stupid wars, and stole the election from Al Gore. Like, that was just normal, common talk. And it was all over. But no one said a word when it was coming from Democrats. Now Trump says, hey, these signature verifications don't seem quite legit. Can we look at that? And then they want to throw him in jail. That's crazy. And the biggest point of that is if they can throw him in jail for saying First Amendment protected things that are definitely free speech, then I'm hopeless. Like, the black van's coming. Going to get dragged away and thrown in the gulag. So many of us, so many of you. So Trump needs to be vindicated, released, freed, You know, free my boy. I want the T-shirts that say he did nothing wrong. You know, free Trump. You know, the white T-shirts from the hood that say like free whoever, and it's like their like gang member friend. It's like I want the ones that say like free Trump, but it's like the basic T-shirts like the from the hood. Those are awesome. So that's part of the merchandise thing. But still, he legitimately did nothing wrong, and they're butthurt because they're saying on the premise of this thing is incorrect according to these experts. We need to stop people from saying this thing. And the experts are constantly wrong, often lying, frequently bribed. So a lot of us disagree, and we back it up with facts and data and information, images, video, audio, emails. So kind of screw you, experts in general. Like, an expert is a shill, usually. I don't know. I'm kind of frustrated about that whole thing. Point is, we have a constitution in the United States. We have free speech as the First Amendment. So Trump can say, like every other Democrat, that his election was taken from him unjustly. He can say that. Reason number 7, foreign policy and World War III.
Trump had an amazing foreign policy.
He did. He made Afghanistan safer than Chicago. Joe Biden did not continue that trend. In seriousness, with the Abraham Accords and with him walking across the DMZ in North Korea and talking to Rocket Man, him taking out Soleimani, and, you know, just putting people in their place that need to be put in their place, and befriending people that need to be befriended, and negotiating with people that need to be negotiated with. Like, he just did right by us and the whole world with foreign policy.
You can't be a softie when you're talking to people in the Middle East and these foreign places. Like, it doesn't translate. That's kind of an American thing. And, yeah, we don't need, like, a word for it. That's just saying bitch. Okay, you need someone with actual backbone, though, to, like, represent your whole country.
Yes.
Like, other than him, obviously, Biden's bought out and all that stuff. But, like, even if he wasn't, you need a spine to go to these foreign places and negotiate. And Trump's literally a businessman. He knows how to negotiate with people and how to kind of switch over with the cultures and all that.
Yeah. No, he's got a ton of experience leveraging his money.
I was going to say, they know that he's serious, too.
Yeah, they know he's serious.
And unpredictable. So they're just like, you know, we're not going to mess with them because who knows what's going to happen. But there will be some kind of repercussion. We can't get away with bullshit while Trump's in office.
No.
So, and then it just, like, leads to a peaceful world. Like, we don't want to have to use force if we don't have to. But if somebody's coming over messing with you and all that stuff, like, you have to be able to defend yourself.
Yeah. Well, the businessman angle is huge because Trump sees us as investors in his company. You know, we invest tax money.
The U.S. economy.
The U.S. economy is his investor.
It is pretty much a business.
It is. It is a giant trillions of dollars business, and he has access to use our money to do whatever with the full presidential power. And so some people, they're just sitting there finding ways to mooch off of the investment and enrich themselves. But he's trying to, like, use as little money as possible to get as much benefit as possible because that's what he was doing as a businessman.
It doesn't take all the money they're spending anyway.
No.
Like, it's so inefficient.
Yeah. Income tax was supposed to be temporary. Like, we had everything fully covered before that even existed.
Well, how's Florida doing with no income tax?
Taxation is theft, generally. It's more like a mafia shakedown, because you can say no, but then they come to take you away.
I mean, you get taxed on the same money like 3 times. Income, spending. What's the other one?
It's a lot more times. There's death tax and
No, I know, but
tax
I'm thinking of a main one.
Yeah, income tax, sales tax. I mean, the company gets taxed on the money that they bring in. So they bring in money that gets taxed, and then they pay you money. and then you get taxed, and then you spend your money, and that gets taxed. So the people spending and receiving the money get taxed.
Yeah.
It's like it's never ending. And then they just spew it out and waste it and steal it. So people are pretty pissed off about the massive waste of money, and having somebody who actually has a background in managing a lot of money with a good degree of success is who we would rather be in charge than some, dirty diaper with legs that just steals everything and spent 50 years doing nothing good for us.
And like I said about showing people, like we can see the silent tax of inflation. Like when they spend all that money, print all that money, like you're still paying for it, but through
right
everything that you buy. Not being able to afford houses, cars, anything.
Yeah, that's true. I saw today that like the interest rates went up again to like the highest they've been since 2001 as of like today. And
that's what's going to make people not be able to afford
we're
buying those big purchases.
I want to get us a new house, and it's going spectacularly, as you can imagine. So
Impeccable timing.
Impeccable timing. Yeah. It's like, worst ever inflation. Got it. Okay. Interest rates. Awesome. So reason number 8 that we would vote for Trump even if he was in jail is because it's becoming more and more common to work remote. So he could do everything over the phone and over Zoom. I mean, he can have someone drop a green screen over the bars.
I was just thinking that.
And
Get somebody to put in a cool background of like the beach or something.
Yeah, the beach or the Oval Office. So it's like the Oval Office, but then when they cut the cameras, like the cloth drops and it's bars behind them. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's remote.
You could switch it up and have like the courtyard in the background.
Yeah.
Or the playground, whatever. The recess,
true.
what do you call it?
It's totally true.
The recess area.
Yeah. But I mean, it seems like Biden's in front of a green screen half the time anyway. Like I've seen some cosmic weirdness with some of those shots with like plants that don't move outside the window and like, yeah, I'm not buying that he's always in the White House for those videos anyway. I think he spent a full year on vacation.
Yeah, that just came out. It was a full year. He's been on vacation a full year of his term.
And the most recent was just as Hawaii was burning. He's like, oh, better go on vacation and have...
Not to Hawaii. But
not to Hawaii. He's like, you know what would really help out is if I approved another $20 billion to Ukraine and then went on vacation right after Hawaii
honestly,
burns to the ground.
We would be better off with him just doing nothing, really. So, obviously, the problem is his cabal. It's not... He's just the figure person.
Yeah.
So
The front man. The figurehead.
Obviously, he's not cognitively aware enough to do shit. Like, he
Yes, he just eats ice cream and soils his Depends. I saw him, like, do a campaign ad, and it was him, like, drinking a cup of coffee, and it was, like, Dark Brandon 2024 with, like, red laser eyes, and he's like, I like my coffee dark. I'm like, bro, you like your suits dark, so we can't tell when you shit your pants. Like, this guy, get out of here. He thinks he's intimidating anyone. Oh, man. Gets so annoyed. So between the UK coming out with new technology to inoculate people for virus X and having like a Chinese-funded lab in California and all these other cosmic weird things that are going on in all of these labs all over the world. The next reason to vote for Trump is the next pandemic, whatever it is. I don't feel like anyone in charge of policy other than him would allow the freedom of the people, or at least the states, to come up with what we need to do to combat whatever the next thing is. It would be more government overreach. All of the things they suggest seem to not work or backfire spectacularly. So I would put Trump in charge of that.
And then you're punished for not going along with what doesn't work, provably.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that happened. I mean, you can't argue with that. You got these people who are saying, we are the truth. We are your only source of information. Listen just to us. And then everything they said was wrong.
They just monopolize the medical industry. If there's nobody to say anything on the other side, then they can do whatever the hell they want. There's nobody that can do anything about it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, we need both sides.
Yeah, science must always be debated and contradicted and tested, and we find new things over time. So it's not ever settled. That's where propaganda is, to say, hey, we have the market cornered on science, and we make money when you listen.
And there's no motivation to do better.
Right. Yeah. Innovation comes from challenging what is already existing to get something better.
Yeah, there's no competition. And the reward for not fixing it is more power, more control.
More profit.
All the things that they want.
Yeah.
So why would they fix it?
Why would
it's like, you can just cut out whatever if I can't say something.
Go ahead.
But it was like when they paid people at the hospitals for the deaths, not for saving people.
It's like, are you going to incentivize more people to be saved, or more of the people who died to be counted that way?
Oh, yeah, that's true, because a lot of them came in for something else, like a bullet wound or something, and they're like, died with, not from.
Somebody could come into the hospital looking like Swiss cheese, or like get into a motorcycle accident and their head's been like spun around twice, and then it said on the certificate that it was because of the Kung flu. So we're just like, okay, I don't know about this, guys.
From or with?
Yeah, from or with. Reason number 10 to vote for Trump, even if he's in prison, is the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And Trump has a ton of enemies. And it seems like every one of Trump's enemies is somebody who has been screwing us over in some humongous way. So people who have been rigging stuff on the local level, people who have been overstepping their power in like the FBI, the people in the media who've been causing division and lying to us, the people even on the Republican side who have been these like rhino fake CNN conservatives that act like they're on the side of the people, but then they just go and party with the liberal communists and pretend, controlled opposition. It seems like everyone who's backstabbed Trump or actively just attacks him is on the side that doesn't help we the people in other ways. So we're just like, I don't know, man. If we support the one guy, even if we don't love him completely, if you're like, I don't like his attitude, I don't like his tweets, I don't like his past because, he's had like several failed marriages, or, I don't like the orange tan or the hairdo, like whatever your reason is, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And all of Trump's enemies seem to be the shit stains of the world that are screwing us all over. Mm-hmm. I'll let you just say whatever.
I need some segue, but that was just like, you covered everything.
I covered a lot. I got really upset. So what would be your favorite thing about Trump being in prison?
I think it would just be the boomerang thing that I said earlier. Just that if they let him, if he lets them actually go the full length and fully put him in jail, then he gets back in office and he's like, I literally went to jail from y'all with the new rules, so that's totally legal now. Yeah. And you're actually guilty.
Yeah. No, that is great.
And just the hilariousness of, like you said, like...
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Because obviously with the security and all that stuff, like, they have to have a whole area for him.
Right.
So
Secret Service would have a section, because they have to protect him even if he's in jail. Like, they're going to be there. So you're going to have, like, these buff dudes... He's going to be walking around like Kingpin in prison. Like
with security guard, like his own personal security.
Yeah, his posse. So
that would be hilarious.
Secret Service people with like orange jumpsuits and then the earpieces. That would be really funny.
So yeah, that, just the new rules and then just the hilariousness of...
Yeah, okay. Well, guys, I really appreciate you coming. This is 10 reasons we would vote for Trump even if he was in prison.